Oh, 안녕하세요, 여러분. How are you all doing? We're going to learn some Korean today, right? Here we go. Let's study some Korean. No, I'm just kidding. Why am I talking Korean? Why am I going on about studying Korean and saying 안녕하세요, 여러분? Well, that actually is hi guys or hello guys in Korean. But why am I going on about Korean? Well, because we're continuing the build on the Korean K2 Black Panther tank. And that is why I'm going on with the Korean. So I just thought that would be kind of interesting. Look at all this sawdust I just put on myself with that box. Okay, what are we doing? Well, we are continuing on the build. I want to fix this camera because I noticed last time my camera angles, I'm working on it and it's focusing on the side of my head, and I want it to focus on here. So I've ordered another camera mount thing to try and change the angle on this one and try and get it maybe a little bit more overhead and not quite so focused on me, just to try and get better angles. And I'm thinking of actually setting up a third camera so that you guys would be able to see when I'm over here working and spray painting stuff over here. You'd be able to actually see what I'm doing. I can change the view. So I'm thinking about it. I'm working on that. So maybe in the next video I might have that, especially because I want to show you guys my techniques on getting the camouflage done on this tank. As you can see, I'm working on some little bits here, but I'll show you what I've done. I've been busy working on some little bits, and so this thing looks like considerably different than when you guys saw it last. Voila, there's the turret. So as you can tell, there's been a lot done on this since the last time, and obviously it's been painted green. I didn't want to bore you guys with all the little intricate things of just putting it all together, because I think one of the main focuses on this build is going to be, one, doing the camouflage, and two, doing all the weathering. And that's going to be the main focus on this particular build, because the actual assembly of this thing is pretty straightforward. It's just take the part off the sprue, put it together, put it on. Simple and done. So as you can see, I got a lot of little things on here. I did put the antennas on here already, and I'm kind of regretting it because now I got to be careful around them. Let's see, we have our hatches done. These things, they do open up like that. If I stick my finger there, they do open like this and like this. Nothing too complicated about that. This guy's glued in. One thing I did do that's against the instructions. So remember these little things here, these little red sticker things that go on these little windows? I was looking at some pictures of these things in real life. In the real life tank, these things are not so reflective, and like when I get the right camera angle, they are red. You can see that's red there, right? And it's just, the real life tank, they're not red, and they don't seem to be like super reflective. There's the other two here, right? They don't seem to be super reflective. It just seems like regular friggin' glass. And so this kit comes with that little red sheet, right? It's kind of a chromish copper red clear, and yeah, it doesn't make it seem realistic to the real tank. So I'm not happy with that. But these aren't windows, they are solid pieces of plastic in there that, what am I going to do? Paint them black with a gloss or something? You know? So what I decided to do on this piece and this piece that I'm going to be putting on later, they have these little panels So if you look in there, right in the middle of there, I'll show you on this camera because it's easier to see. If I can get it to focus just on that area without trying to focus anywhere else. Let's see. Focus on my hand, bring you up, right. I don't know if I can get it to focus. It's this one here is the one I'm talking about. So you can see I've put a piece of plastic in there, just clear plastic to represent the window. I painted the inside of this thing flat black because what they wanted was this little piece here. Please focus. Focus on me. Hello, thank you. This little piece here, okay? They wanted this to go inside there and then put that sticker on it. No, why? This thing's supposed to have a window, right? That makes sense to me. So I just grabbed a piece of clear plastic, cut it out to fit in there, and I glued it in and painted the inside of this thing flat black. So you see it's a window, definitely like it's supposed to be, and just like you see in pictures of this tank. And so again, I've done that. Here's this little window that goes on here. This goes on this spot like there. Okay, and so it goes there, and you can see, especially when you get the nice reflective, you can see the windows there, right? Get in this camera too. You can see they're definitely windows, and they're clear. You can see it's dark because, well, I did paint the inside of this flat black also, where you're going to look through, because I don't want to really see any detail there. This is solid. There's no hole, right? And so I just did that and glued that in there so I don't have this weird red reflective color coming from it. Yeah, so I did that. Obviously got the main gun put on. Now, one thing I did do, this little cover that goes on top here, I actually cut it so that this panel kind of sits up a little bit higher, because the way they had this molded, once it was on, the gun basically had, you could have it sitting straight like this, or you could put it down, and you had like that much movement, and that was it. And that's stupid. It's one thing I hate about these models, these tank models, is you put the thing together and then this thing, you can't even move the barrel. So I cut this up and bent it up a little bit so that I've got a little bit of movement at least to aim it up. Now this tank, this thing can go like almost freaking 45 degrees. This thing can aim high, right? But the limitation of the model, whatever they do, they could have done something, make it a little hinge or something to be able to give it some movement. Anyway, that's just my little rant on that. What else? I've got the side panels here for I'm guessing these are armor pieces. So I saw one picture where they had like one little section put on right there. And so I decided I'm going to put that one little section there and I'll leave it. But I'm going to leave the rest of them off. What else? We've got the ones on the top here. I think literally that's just extra armor. Or what do they call it? Reactive armor or active armor? Something like that. I don't know. I'm not big into looking at all the terminology and everything of tanks. So anyway, that's this piece. Okay, and I also painted the top of the hull green. So we got that. We're doing camouflage, right? And you might think, well, why did you go with the dark color first? And I don't know why. I don't have an answer. Normally, under normal circumstances, I would lay down a light coat first, a light color, and then paint the dark over top. But I think what I want to do is, because this dark yellow, that Tamiya calls it, is probably not going to cover 100% even, and I'm not going to do like 4 coats of this stuff or anything like that. It's something stupid. So I think this is going to come out a little bit darker because I'm painting it over the dark green. And so that's kind of my thought process behind that. So I painted it dark green first rather than putting down the dark yellow first. So that's that and that. And then just this morning, I started assembling the lower part of the hull. And I actually have, I've put some of that liquid masking that I was talking about earlier, or in the last video, that big bottle of liquid mask, I put that over the little taillight lenses so that I wouldn't have to try and paint the clear red over a dark green. So I've got that on there, and that stuff, well, I can leave it for days and it'll peel off no problem. So that's the lower hull. It was pretty simple, just put these cross braces in, put the two sides on, and then put the back. And the back doesn't really have a lot to it, just the little tail light pieces and the hook, and this is the little rear camera, and that's about it. Yeah, so that's that, and that's done. So I'm currently working on all the gear and getting that assembled, and that is going to go on kind of like that. And each one just goes point, 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 point. They've got little locator things so you get the angle right, so that your gear is all nice and level and straight. And so that's what I am currently doing with all these little bits. Excuse me. I also have the little machine gun assembled that goes on top there. That's this little guy here, if I can get him focused. There you go. I still got to paint the actual bullets that go across the top of the casing there. But that's that. Those little cables. Remember those little cables that I assembled last time with the string? I was looking at pictures of this thing to determine, are these steel? Are they just bare metal? Are they going to rust? That kind of thing. Looking at pictures of this tank, they're blue. Oh, I still got dust on me. They're blue. They're blue. I'm going to show you a picture. Let me get a picture going here. I'll show you the fact they are freaking blue. I don't know what they have on them, but they are blue. Where is a picture here? Here's a real good picture of the side of the tank, and you can see they are blue. Right there. Right there. Blue cables. I don't know if that's some kind of coating they have on them to keep them from rusting, but it's definitely not bare metal. Those are blue. And this is a good picture to show that little window in that little piece there. That little, I don't know what that is, some kind of a, I don't know what it's called. I don't know what function that thing does. But yeah, so that's that. Yeah, so the cables are blue, and yeah, clearly those windows are not red in color. So yeah, I think I had another picture of those cables where they're definitely showing that they're blue, but just bear with me a moment here, because I thought I had another picture that I just gotten. Oh yeah, here we go. It's a little bit blurry though as I zoom in on it, so it doesn't look that great. Sorry, got so many windows open here. Oh, here we go. Here's a good picture. I wanted to get a picture of the back of this thing and get this all going. And yeah, so here you can really see the blue cables going around the back there of the cage, where that snorkel should be. For whatever reason, they don't have the snorkel on this one. But yeah, I just wanted to get a picture of the back of the tank so that I could see, excuse me, what it looks like. And yeah, so, and of course, there again, there's those two little windows on the side, and they're not red. They're not reflecting red for any weird reason. They're just there, and it's nothing too spectacular. They're just windows. So it is what it is. And yeah. So anyway, I'm gonna continue just assembling these pieces. I think I was just when I started my video here, I was still in the process of cleaning these up because I'd just taken them off of the sprues. So yeah, but I figured I got about an hour before I got to head out. So I got stuff to do today, and but I got a little bit of time to kill, so I figured I'd get to work on this and show you guys kind of where I'm at right now. Hopefully my new camera mount shows up today, and I can change my camera angle and get a better angle altogether for you guys. One of the things I kind of aim to do on my whole video process on my YouTube channel, in general, is to give you guys something a little different than the typical model builder that I see. In particular, there's one guy I've been watching lately. His YouTube channel is called Night Shift, and he is a fantastic tank builder, or as some call armor. They call it he's building armor. I don't know why they call it armor. Come on, fact. Yeah, thank you. I don't know why they call it armor. I mean, yeah, sure, the tank has armor on it, but yeah, whatever. They call it armor. Anyway, he builds these fantastic lifelike tank models, and so just watching what he does and getting some pointers and stuff like that, watching his builds, I think has helped me not only in ideas of what I want to do with this particular build, but why is that not going together? There we go. But the techniques that he uses to weather his models and get a realistic look to them has really helped me in realizing kind of the failures in my past techniques. If you look on my YouTube channel and on my Instagram, and you look at the two tanks that I've built in the past, the M1A, what is it, A2, I think? The A2 Abrams? I can't remember if it was an A1 or A2. I'd have to look back at my videos. Anyway, the M1 Abrams tank, the American Abrams tank, I did absolutely, what did I do on it? I didn't do anything to the tracks at all. I just assembled them, and I kept it the base color, which was like the light sand, because that's what they are, and I did a light brown wash over the whole thing to do basically the pin lines, or the panel lines, or what Night Shift calls a pin wash. And that's all I did to it, and it's really, I mean, it's a nice looking model. The kit went together very nicely, but as far as realism, there's nothing to it. It doesn't look, you can tell it's a model, right? You totally tell. When I built, so I kind of learned from that after watching a couple of his videos and seeing some of the stuff that you can do to make it look real. Things like not just washes, but doing just the weathering, streaking, and things like that. Seeing what he does and how real it looks when it's finished. I decided to try a little bit of that on the Israeli tank that I built, and it was definitely improvement. The tracks came out really nice. on that particular build. The tracks look very nice and old and rusty looking and stuff like that. But the rest of the tank, not so much. I added a little bit of pigments to it and did a little bit of like dirt textures here and there, but I still really like held back and didn't really do too much on it, right? So that's what I did. So in watching a few of his videos in the last couple of weeks, I decided I want to go kind of the next level, for me anyway. I want to go next level and get a little bit more realistic. And so I want to add some mud effects. I want this tank's a new tank, right? It's the latest generation tanks, the K2 Black Panther. So there's no, like, if you just Google K2 Black Panther, you're not going to see a lot of pictures or any pictures of this thing old and rusty and worn and, you know, battle damaged, that kind of thing. This is a latest generation tank. So there's not really, you know, you don't see these things blown up or anything like that, or any kind of, you know, like I said, major damage. So it's all fairly new. But there are a couple of pictures. This thing's going through the mud and getting dirty and everything like that. And that's kind of what I want to go for. So in that kind of thing, I am going to weather the tracks. Oh, that's right. I was going to show you guys how these tracks go together. I've already assembled them, clearly, right? Here's my tracks. They are assembled. I am going to have to pull them apart for when I do the weathering. I will show you guys the whole process. And again, that's why I'm going to add that third camera, because, well, weathering these things is a messy process. But I'm going to show you guys how these things go together. So I've got a couple of spares here, okay? So let's just put my little gearboxes aside here. So first of all, we've got these little pads that come off. Okay, we've got two. Okay, just like that. And they're going to go on this. Now I saved one. Okay, the rest of them have already been glued on here. So this is what I've been doing. Just make sure there's a nice clean separation. Okay, so then I take some glue. And I'm going to put glue on this piece here, okay? Just a little bit to get it to stick, okay? Just like that, okay? And it's basically the only part that gets glued. And now these only go on one way, so you make sure you got it the right way around, and then they just kind of slide nicely into that little spot. And it slides into that little spot right there. And there we go. So now they're assembled. Okay, and that's the only part that gets glued, so I can put this back. Now, so that's together. I'm gonna take another different one of these off of the tree. Okay, so I'll just do that, and that, and there we go. So I'm just gonna make sure that I got it kind of clean. Don't really need to clean it up too much, because if you got a little bit of nub mark sticking out there, that's fine. That'll look fine. When it's going through here, it'll still go together fine, and they'll all still bend nice. But it'll kind of add, if you want to add some like dirt and mud and stuff like that, it's going to kind of add to that. It'll add that little. It'll seem like there's a chunk of mud in between them, and I'm okay with that. Okay. Now next, we have all these along here. And these don't get used for whatever reason. I guess this is a generic tank track mold that Academy has, but we're not using any of these ones. There actually were all along here. It's this particular one. Okay, so this one comes off. Okay, now I'm actually going to put two links together here for you so I can show you. So I'm going to take another one of these off of here. Okay. Okay, there we go. There, see, I got a big nub mark. That one's just a little too big, so just shave that off a little bit. Okay, so now, this piece here, this is going to go in the middle. I got a really bad nub mark there. I got to get rid of that. As much as I said, hey, you can leave it, this one's just a little too big. Okay, so this one goes in the middle, and it goes to facing the inside of the track. So these pads are on the outside, so this has to face the inside. And so that just kind of goes in the middle there, and it kind of clicks. Kind of clicks into place like that. And then your next track piece goes on the other side. And so there you go. You've got these two, and they will bend, whatever. But now you have to make sure they stay together. And that's where these pieces come into effect. All these little guys. So I'm going to take two of these off, one for each side. Okay, just like that. And now I'm pretty much done with this, so I'll just put this over here. Okay, so now you have these little guys. Now one thing they show you a little cheat in the instructions to leave these things on here, and then you just take this and you line it up and you put them on. And I found that to be the biggest pain in the ass thing, because these things bend and they kind of move and they don't line up, and just I was like, after trying it about a dozen times, I was like, forget it, I'm done. Just take them all off of here and put them on by hand. It's much easier to do by hand. You just pick it up, find it in the little two holes, and you slide it over the two pins like that. And then you just do it on the other side. Just like that. And now you have the assembled little piece of track. And it bends and it stays together, and voila, there you go. And that's how you put them together. And you do that, I can't remember what it said, something like 78 pieces for each one, something like that. I had to count it. I think it says it in the manual part 2 when you get to the track part. Yeah, 78 each. 78 on the right and 78 on the left. And that is apparently what it's going to take to line it all up on the wheels. So there you go. But you have extras, right? I just got them in a little tray here. I've got more track here if I need it. If for whatever reason I need 79 on each, I've got more than enough spare to do. I don't know. There was one where I tried to put it together and the little end piece actually ripped out of the hole. So there was one that failed. So, but I got so much extra. it's not a concern at all. So that's that. So I will show you guys what I'm going to be doing with when it comes to weathering those. To put mud on the thing, I went on VMS on their website, and I have those. I ordered these actually from Sunward Hobbies in Ontario. They are a brand new, I guess, dealer for VMS supply. What are they actually? VMS Vantage Modeling Solutions is what I guess what VMS stands for. Vantage Modeling Solutions. But these guys are like based out of Europe somewhere, and so it's pretty cool that Sunward Hobbies is now selling their products, so I can get these a lot easier and a lot faster. Because ordering direct from VMS was taking up to a month or 2 months to get the stuff. I will say, very good products. I do like them. So basically the process is going to be take some of this pigment. This is brown earth texture, so this is thick and it's got the texture like that. I mean, to look at these two, they don't look very much different. This is the same color, brown earth, but this is not textured, and they look pretty much the same. And if I had to guess, I'd say the one that's not textured looks more textured, but whatever. You take some of this stuff, and then you take this alkyd binder and you put a few drops in there, and you basically turn it into a muddy paste. And then you smear it all over wherever you want mud to be. And then you take a brush and you take your universal weathering carrier and you use that and you dip your brush in that, and this basically is a thinner, and you can wipe off all the stains and stuff like that. So I got this one, plus I got a big one because I might need lots, I don't know. So that's that. I picked that up so I can put the mud all over the sides of the tracks and everything like that. As far as weathering on these, that's going to be more pigments I'll be using. I've got my little box of pigments here. I've got the dark rust and track rust, and I think I got a light rust. I got an ochre rust, and you kind of mix them up. You do different layers and stuff like that, and then you've got the fixer, which puts it on permanent, and yeah, and you do all that, and you kind of go through it step by step with these different colors. You can see they're just slightly different colors, and it makes it a nice realistic dirty rusty look. And I even have a medium rust, and yeah, so that's my little box of pigments. But like I said, it is a messy process, and so what I like to do, what I did with the Israeli tank is I literally just put left the tracks in the box and did it the whole process in the box. So yeah. Anyway, back to these things. These things are going to go on the side of the hull, and they're going to go like this, and I want to get this little part painted before I put them on. And so I'm just going to hit those with a little quick coat of green on that side, but I'm going to do it all kinda. If I can, I'll do them all at once. I think I got enough alligator clips to do 12. We shall see. We shall see. I mean, I know I've got enough alligator clips. I got a bag of them, but how many do I already have out and ready to go is the question. These are brand new, never even used these ones yet. As you can tell by the shiny chrome color. And I got one left. Really? Only one? Ah, there we go. There we go. Alright. So I'll put them in my little homemade block here. Get them all facing the same direction. Do I have enough holes? I don't have enough holes in my block. So what I'm going to do is turn this row around the other way, like this. That, that, and like that. There we go. Okay, ready for paint. Now, let's move this out of the way. painting the wheels. Getting those ready for assembly. These ones are the dark yellow. I only put one coat on them for now, so more will be done later. Okay. Just want to hit them with a little coat. It's probably going to be mostly hidden anyway. Give that a couple minutes and then I will put them together. Now I've got to assemble these wheels, and I think these poly caps are all the same size, but I do have two that are longer. So if I go 1, 2, 3, how many? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 2, 4, 6, 8. I think maybe these are for the gears, the end gears. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. These go in here. Actually, I put them in the other side. Yes, that's smarter. Of course, the wheels are going to be basically one of the last things I put on. I clearly don't know how to count. How come nobody told me that? I need to count. Okay, and then these go together. And I tried test fitting one earlier and it's friggin' tight. But at the same time, that's kind of good, I guess. I don't know which glue I want to use. You put it together and then just use the thin glue. But at the same time, the thicker glue adds like helps to slide it together. Because it's so thick, so tight. See, that's freaking, that's tight. I almost don't need glue. Well, that will be my experimental no glue wheel. Because I am going to use even just a little bit of glue is going to help. Sometimes when the pieces are really tight fit, the glue acts like a bit of a lubricant to get them to slide together. See, that was much easier to put together simply because it had the glue on it. That one, not so much. It's still snapped together, but whatever. If I find one that I'm really having a problem with, I can always take a knife and I can bevel the edge, bevel this little edge a little bit to help ease it into the hole a little better. And then put the glue on, because, you know, as in other things in life, sometimes a little lubricant helps it to get it in the hole. together. That's together. Last one. And done. Okay, so those are done. This is my test one that has no glue but is stuck together like it's glued. Although not quite. There. Now it's together. Alright, so those wheels are done. The problem with assembling all these things in bits like this, now I've got all these wheels sitting here and they're not ready to be put on. I'm not ready for them yet because I've got my gearboxes over here and the wheels aren't actually going to be put on until like almost at the end of this process, right? Because I've got to, there's going to be a whole bunch of mud on the sides of this thing where the wheels go, and the muds will be flung, right? They're going to be all going along here. Mud's going to be caked on all around the bits and pieces and on the back of the fenders and, you know, the mud flaps, I guess, and that kind of stuff. So wheels are kind of the last part to go on. So yeah, I'm going to throw them in the box. I've got the other ones painted already green because, well, on the tank they are green. There's some wheels are the tan color and other wheels are green, and that's the way they do it. So that's the way they're going to be. Yeah. Okay. So these are probably ready for another coat. Even though I don't need to necessarily have a really good coat on them, I still want it. And that should be good enough. We've got this other bit of suspension to put on here. A16 and E28. I'm going to try one side here and see how it goes together. There's E28 right there. So this tank is one of the few tanks in the world that actually has an active suspension. And which is another one of the things that makes this tank unique and why it's like ranked as the #2 tank in the world. What was the other part I needed? A16. And I'm going to need 17 too, but 17 is for the other side. So, clean these up. Looking at my, for lack of a better term, let's say my build schedule for what my projects are coming up. After building that 1/32 scale F4 Phantom, and how pleasantly surprised I was on how well that thing came out looking, I have decided to build another 1/32 scale plane. That being my favorite plane in the world of all time, the F-15. So I've got an F-15 build coming up, and it is, well, it should be fun. Okay, so this guy, he goes right here. It's got a little slot. It should only fit one spot. Okay. And then this guy, he goes back to that part. And then connects to that. There. Except it's supposed to go there. And that's how that's going to go on. It's going to go like that. Focus, please. Focus, please. Focus. There we go. Like that. So again, that should be painted green. So what I want to do, it's going to be near impossible to get this side of the shock green once it's on there. So I'm going to take two of these. These should be pretty much dry now. Dry enough to come off of there anyway. And just do that. And that. Just so I can get them both on that side with the green. Just so they'll be covered. Which was the back side? That side. Okay. Just like that. Okay. So this piece though, that should be fine. I don't think I need to paint that by itself. I can glue that on there just as it is. And I'll do the same on the other side. All right, so that's that. Now I got all my little gearboxes. Out of my way. Okay, so the gearboxes, these things all go, there are definite lefts and rights, right? So that's going to go in that place. And now you can see I've got that little part painted green, so I don't have to worry about that now later on. Now later on? I don't have to worry about it later on. Now I don't have to worry about it later on. Maybe that's proper English. So I'm going to make sure I got all my lefts and rights right. Otherwise they'll be backwards. That's the wrong side. Wrong side. There we go. So that's what they're going to look like once I got them glued on. Let's do that. There is a tiny little bit of play. So what I'm going to do is, see if I do this, you can see I get a little bit of play in that, just that much, and each one. So I'm just basically going to tuck it up tight on each one. Tuck it up tight, tuck it up tight. That's what I'm going to do. So that I got it the same position on each and every one. Now if I wanted, I could have done it the other way and have the wheels hang down just that, I don't know, 1/2 millimeter more. But I don't think the end result makes that much difference. Like I said, it's 1/2 millimeter. The only thing that's going to make the difference is having them all the same. And so that's what I'm doing. Okay, that side's done. And maybe I'm still going to have to hit it with a shot of green kind of at this kind of an angle to make sure I got it all on there. Now you might ask, well, if you're doing this in camouflage, why are you doing everything in green? So because I don't want to have to go back and do any green later. That's the main reason why. I'm wanting to make sure I've got it all already painted. Everything that is going to be green is green already, because I don't want to have to come back with the green afterwards. And that's my whole reasoning for this. Let's do 2. More efficient, right? Okay, so those are all on. And I'll do those little shocks. These guys. Okay, so going back to this side. Glue there. And then that part. Now with the running gear in place, this becomes a little more difficult to get lined up. Still not that hard. Just like that. Okay. Hey, Kevster. Hey, I'm doing good. It's one of the few days I get to actually do something on during the daytime, during the week. Sorry if I didn't respond quite fast enough on that. It's kind of focusing on getting this thing together. There we go. Okay, so that's done. Now, what got that put together, I want to hit it with a little bit of green on there, just to make sure I'm getting in all the little cavities. And cover up anything that I may have missed. Note, this is a K2 Black Panther by Academy. This guy here. That one. Yeah, modern tanks. That way I don't have to do so much damage. Yeah, a little bit off. Yeah, it's coming along pretty good. I'll show you the turret here. Right now it's all just plain olive drab, nothing too special. But yeah, it's coming along pretty good. A little bit of movement on the turret, and the little hatch is open. But yeah, it's coming along. We're getting there. Got lots of weathering to do on the tracks, considering they're just all black. But yeah, that'll be next time, because it's almost 9 a.m. here in BC, and I gotta get going pretty soon. I've got about enough time to spray a little bit more green on this thing, and then I'm gonna have to wrap it up pretty quick here. Thanks. So I just want to get in here in these little cracks and crevices that may get missed later. So I don't want to miss it. Like I said, I don't want to have to come back and do any green later on, so just want to make sure I get everything. And then everything will be green and happy. So, you know, there was a famous person many years ago that said, "It's not easy being green." If you get that reference, you're pretty cool. So there we go. Now that's green. Now I'll hit that with a second coat later on. Looks like I got a little bit of too much came out of the can. I'll clean that up later. That'll be all part of the weathering process. Making this thing look nice and dirty. You're on when he said that. Yeah. I don't know if that's something you want to admit or not. Rainbow connection, yeah. Alright, so that is that part. And other than actually putting the wheels on, which, like I said before, I'm not going to be doing until pretty much the end of this little project, I think that it finishes up this page. So I got more dust all over me than I want. And that ends book 1 of the assembly on this. We have everything done. There's only one thing I didn't do, and I did not put the little antennas on these guys. I did not put those on. Those are for the flags, and those are basically going to go on last. Like I said before, I put the antennas on the back here, and I kind of regret doing that because now I've got to be careful not to knock them off. So, yeah. But anyway, that's it for book 1. We now go on to book 2. book 2 is right here. Thanks, Cavster. Yeah, I've got to, I gotta go get some supplies. I need more paint, and I need some, I want to pick up some of that, what do they call it? Quick tack? That putty, masking putty basically is what the technical term. I'm going to try doing the masking putty for doing the camouflage on this. I'm going to see how that looks, and it's going to be my little experiment before I use it on the my F-15 build that it's going to be coming up. So I want to go get some of that. They're opening up soon, and I got to do that. And I need to get my hair cut. My hair's getting too long. So yeah, I got stuff to do today, other than this. Poster tack. Okay. I'm gonna, when I get to the hobby store, I'm gonna see what they have, and see what prices are and stuff like that, and look into it, because I've never used that stuff before. And so when it comes to doing camouflage, because I use the spray cans and I don't use airbrushing, I always find what I've done is just cut out a, take a piece of paper, draw my pattern, cut that out, and then put that over top and use that. And because it's not, because it's like, hey, it's just resting there, the paint kind of gets a chance to kind of go underneath there and get that little bit of that little soft edge, and it's not so bad. But sometimes the paper goes down in one spot and it gets a hard edge, and then it's lifted just a millimeter off, and then you get a hard edge, and then it goes into a fade, and yeah, it's not a perfect thing. And so I'm just looking for another solution, and I've seen some other guys using that tack stuff, and yeah, why am I blurry? Come on, thank you. So yeah, kind of looking at that tack stuff and see how it's going to work, and yeah, and kind of go from there and see what they have, and see, is it cost effective? If it's going to be expensive, then maybe not. Maybe I just figure something out different. There's always liquid mask, right? Which I got my big honking bottle of liquid mask right here. This stuff works, but yeah, it's just the liquid mask. You gotta wait for it to dry, right? It takes some time, and then of course, if you gotta go in a whole bunch of detail like along here, that's gonna go into every little crevice and may not be able to pull out. It's because it's made for polycarbonate car bodies, right? For RC cars. But anyway, and airplanes, I guess, too. But anyway, yeah, so that's that. So yeah, gotta make a trip to the hobby store and get my hair cut today and stuff like that. So yeah, so yeah, so I'm gonna leave it that. I gotta take off here real quick, and we'll continue on this next time. I've got the more wheel stuff to put together, and yeah, they want me working on the other side, and I've already kind of done half of it already. So yeah, so I tack tape is master preferred. Yeah, that's true. So yeah, with that, I'm gonna call it a day, and we'll leave it at that for now. This is coming along pretty good. I can kind of do a little bit of a test fit here. I know there's a couple of locator pins here that go in there. Two at the back too. Get a feel of how this thing's all going to look when it's together before I leave. Goes together pretty nice. No fitment issues. There's that. Put the turret on. Alright, I'll say hi to everyone in Richmond. Everyone I see, I'll say, hey, Capster says hi. So that's kind of what it's going to look like when it's all done. Just like that, with a little bit of turret movement. That's nice. Yeah, so there we go. So with that, I'm going to call it a day, and I'm going to head on out. So I'll do my usual plug I always do at the end of my videos. If you're watching this on YouTube, why not head over to my Twitch and check me out there. Follow me on Twitch. You can talk to me live, just like Caster did there. Twitch.tv/duplicitous_29 is my Twitch channel. If you're watching me on Twitch, why not head over to my YouTube and follow me on my YouTube channel and help me out there. And if you want to see still pictures of models that I've done in the past, you can head on over to my Instagram, because I always take pictures of my builds and I post them on my Instagram page. And I will put links to all three in my little description box below on my YouTube. And yeah, so we're going to leave it there for now. And sticking with the Korean theme, I'll say annyeong, and have a nice day, and we'll see you guys in the next one. See you later, Caster. Thanks again.